let me say this. I'm not coming in nearly as negative as anyone in that building nor in your city right now, because I don't know if you've brought this point up yet, but the Mariners do still control their destiny. Like, you realize that, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they win today and if they win tomorrow, then they are ahead of the Houston Astros in the standings.
Yep.
And they own a tiebreaker. So I'm not going to sit here and say all is lost, because we've seen this Mariners team go on big winning streaks. But they need that rather than what they've been playing like recently.
Yeah, what you got to understand, though, Jeff, you have to understand, they'll only go on the winning streak if you say that all is lost. That's the only thing that reaches them, is a total feeling by the entire fan base that the end has already occurred, that they've dropped below rock bottom, that everything is over. If you finally reach that level of acceptance, they will rise up and play like you need them to.
I mean, we're kind of there, are we not?
Yes,
yeah.
We're there.
This is like, I'm not going to say that today is a must-win game.
Really? Scott did.
It is. Yeah, I know he did. I don't generally believe in the idea of must-win games, but this is about as close to me as you're going to get. And the reason I'm not going to say it's a must-win game is because it's not like the Houston Astros have been playing particularly well lately either. Mm-hmm. It's not like they haven't shown their flow. They got swept over the weekend by the Royals. Like, I mean, they're playing an Arizona Diamondbacks team on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday that has one of the three best pitchers in the National League, and Zach Gallen going on Friday. Merrill Kelly, who's been really, really good this year, on Saturday. And then, at that point, you just, even though it's Justin Verlander versus Zach Davies on Sunday, and the Astros clearly have the advantage there, it's baseball, man, and you never know. So the idea that the Mariners could still theoretically cruise into the playoffs is a very realistic thing. The fact that the idea that they could get there even if they lose today, I think, is realistic. It's just getting increasingly bleak and unlikely.
Yeah, Jeffrey, they're 2-12 versus winning teams in September. So I think a lot of folks driving around right now appreciate, well, maybe not. Maybe they're still really mad about what's gone on here this month, and they're screaming that at you. But, Jeffrey, have you watched them against winning teams? Did you watch them against the Dodgers? Did you watch them against the Rangers? Did you watch them here in this month
Orioles.
of September? What's that?
Against the Orioles.
I don't think not Baltimore in September. The Reds.
No,
the Reds took. The Reds took 2 of 3. The Rays took 3 of 4. The Rangers took 3 of 3. I mean, versus winning teams this month, it has been. And we knew September's schedule was going to be very, very different than August. But what has happened from your perspective? Why have the wheels come off and they played their worst month of baseball this entire season?
I don't want to say it's because they're not good enough, because I think that they are. And I don't want to say it's because they're not experienced enough, because I think last year gives the experience. Like, they understand what it's like to be in a pennant race. They understand what it's like to play baseball in October. I hate to cop out on this and say because it's baseball, but I think that is a large part of it. And I think, when you have a couple of guys who would we agree that at the beginning of the year, if Bryce Miller or Brian Wu made it to the big leagues and pitched a little bit, that was sort of the expectation? Like, maybe one of them is gonna come up.
Yep.
Like, they've both become vital parts of this rotation, and the Mariners are where they are because of Miller and Wu. But we also have to understand they don't face lineups like the Rangers very often.
Yeah. And
so I think that, even when you have guys who have gone out and performed the way they have, to ask them in September, in the middle of a big playoff race, in their first season in the big leagues, to be as good as they can possibly be, I think a very special few do that. That's why George Kirby to me was so good last year, because he was the guy who just absolutely stepped up in the big moments. And it's why Logan Gilbert, you look back on Saturday, that may be the more frustrating one to me than Miller and Wu. It's like Logan Gilbert was pretty good Saturday, right?
Yeah, give him every opportunity.